is she's got all the symptoms. So we're just talking about that. Things are very real. So today I'm going to talk about the linear mind because I got a bunch of questions from Kendra. I love this guitar. I got this guitar in 1986. It was handmade for somebody else, and the guy didn't like all the inlay, and it sat around for a bit, and Luthier, the guy who made it, it left it on a table. It got a little crack from being dry, and he sold it to me for $500, and now I've had that guitar, I guess that would be 35 years. Kendra wrote me yesterday, and what we're going to do is I'm going to answer her question one this morning, and then this afternoon we're going to get on Instagram and answer question 2. So I'll read you both of them. I've been talking a lot about the linear mind, and she said, what is the linear mind? What isn't the linear mind? Is there a way to be that isn't the linear mind, and how to be there? So I'm going to answer that. And then she said, have you said I said a bunch of things to her actually, and we'll talk about it when we get on the call. So the linear mind, I mean, I'm not sure if I heard somebody say it or I made that up. I mean, it sounds familiar, but it is what came to me when I was writing the book. My last book, which has a lot of stuff in it, I don't know how organized it was, but my ideas were in there, at least brewing. And I think that, well, the mind is not a thing. Let's just start there. The mind is not an object. Like, where's the mind? You can't find it. But we could call the mind the sort of the vessel by which thoughts are delivered to us. Therefore, the body mind is the thoughts the body has, like, I want coffee. And how? So, the body you don't get actual thoughts. The body has its own thoughts, but I think thoughts come through the vessel of the mind, and the mind is, I think that there are different intelligences, different parts of our body. Different parts of us are programmed, like your heart is programmed to do certain things, and your stomach is programmed to do others, and your brain is also programmed. And what it tells you when you get a stomach ache is its own version of thinking. But I think when we talk about the linear mind, we're talking about what I'm doing right now, which is communicating and talking ideas. And I think that there is what we call the lizard brain, like the first level of existence. Like the lizard brain is just what you think to survive. And then the linear mind, what's meant by linear is that the path is linear. It's a straight path. I mean, we have been for thousands of years training ourselves to have point of view. Western culture, even the Phoenician alphabet, is based on the idea of linear thinking. So we have rows of desks and roads, like they're straight. So now linear doesn't necessarily mean straight, because I compare the structural level and the linear mind to a snake. So a snake's path, whilst might be like this, is led by the head that guides it. It's going straight along a line, even if the line is changing. It's just a line. So the linear mind to me is a very narrow reality, but it works, like, because you can study how something works, and by studying it, you're breaking down the physics of it. Physics meaning physical, the matter. So when we're studying matter, there are facts, and those facts are A to B to C to D. So the linear mind's best thing that it does is it thinks about things along a line. But that only works if you want to live a life that's not human. It's not creative. I think the thousands of years of patriarchy and has tried to train us, even through things like putting people in jail and stuff, is this idea of A to B. A results in B, but it's human made. But when you look at existence, it's not human. It's not along a line. If you go out into the jungle, there are no straight lines. If you look up in a tree, there are no straight lines. Even if you look at the trunk of the tree, it's not completely straight. So I say what the linear mind is just the part of is the second level of existence. If the first level mind is lizard mind, it's like, well, if I share this with you, then I don't have any for me. That it's all about survival and self-protection. That's why they call it a lizard brain. And it's funny because I watch my chickens all the time. I have this one chicken, she's older, and she's not so powerful anymore, but she sees herself as important. So no matter what happens, when they all come around, I bought this pecking block and they peck, she just like hits them to make the other ones go away because she's eating it. That's lizard mind. Linear mind is I'm trying to master the earth plane. Nothing wrong with that, and we want to be better and apply skill. And I think when you use a linear mind, like Kendra wrote the email to me, she's studying her body and like foundation training and all these things. Like you have to look at yourself and correct your mechanics. So linear thinking is all earthly, all mechanical, all structural, all physics. It's about physics. And then she said, is there a way to be that isn't the linear mind? Abso-fucking-lutely. So, I hope you'll read my book. In my book, I talk about, in the 4th chapter, about the teachers I had, and one of them, Terry Riley, I studied Indian music with him. He's just a genius, but he wouldn't let me take notes or record, and he would sing to me in Hindi. I don't know Hindi, and I didn't know the scales of Indian music because they're way different than Western music, and I couldn't remember anything. And I had to find another way to listen, and I discovered through my relationship with him that there's a listening mechanism outside of the mind. There's a way to understand things that is nonlinear, absolutely. But that involves accessing higher parts of yourself, because even in the Sufi tradition, they have a practice, a phrase, musi, which means everything that happens in the universe is recorded and documented. And the thing is, you have memory. You absolutely can remember everything. Somewhere it's stored. The question is how to access it. And the linear mind can't do that. It's a barrier between all that is remembered and where you are. And that's why that's why you have an unconscious, because the memories are there, the stories are there. everything that the unconscious means without awareness. It's all there, but why can't you access it? If you live in the linear mind, the only thing the linear mind is doing is looking out. And as long as you're looking out, you're only going to see a very refracted light, a reflection, a small representation of reality. That's why when people do the breath work and they go in, it's so magical to them. Or when people do drugs or medicine journeys or whatever, they're finding out that what the eye sees is just like some tiny little bandwidth. So when I talk about linear mind, I'm just talking about your beliefs. I'm talking about what you think is true that isn't. I'm talking about the very narrow perspective that you have that is absolutely 99.99% for all of us based on what happened to us in our core life experiences, this life. And I'll say for myself that once mostly gotten out of that, the wiring is there and the programming is there. And first, for a while, the thoughts keep coming, the same thoughts. And then they stop coming, or they come in different forms, or they don't come as direct thoughts. They just come as kind of an impression or a quality. But the more you stop following it and the more you're able to strengthen other aspects of yourself, it becomes a servant. So that's what I got to say. So this afternoon, I'm going to talk to Kendra about what she, because her first question was philosophical. It's perfect for this morning. If people have those questions, ask me, and then I'll share. So what is the linear mind? And then the second questions were about her, and also about the things that I said to her. So Kendra, I know you're watching, and I'm just warning you. One of the questions I'm going to ask you is your emotional relationship to the things I said to you, because there's something here between you and I. It's not just, you're not just asking about what I said about you. I think you're also talking about how you feel. So one of the questions I'm going to ask you when we start is, do you feel judged by me? And you can say no or yes. So I will see you 4:30 Instagram Eastern Time, 1:30 Pacific Time, 3:30 Central Time, whatever time it is. For Christina, it's probably the middle, 9:30 p.m. Okay. And then 4:30 a.m. in China. Okay. Bye, everybody.